Hey, deserving listeners, Darcey and Stacey. Let's see what happens and see what comes out of my face as I watch.
Like what Florian's been doing, the whole thing with the photo shoot, it really needs to be addressed. Hey, let's talk, man. So what's up with this photo shoot? Darcey's telling me about this. Like you're trying to basically be the male model for the brand?
Okay. So, if I was Florian, I would just say, Michael, I'm not going down this road with you. You don't know anything about the situation, and even if you did, you're not involved. So I'm just going to bow out of this conversation. That would be the best thing that I could imagine Florian saying. So if you don't know or remember, by the time this episode airs, honestly, it could be months after this episode actually was on television. But Florian has been trying to become a professional model, and he was offered finally a job, but it only paid $150 for, I think, a half day of work, which is very little money for what is typically paid much more. Now, the statement was that, look, you have a lot to learn. You haven't broken into the business yet. So I'm offering you this gig. And if you do well, then you'll get better paying jobs. And Florian is like, no, I don't want to do that. It's not worth my time. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of this sort of thing. Okay, so I went into my wife's office and asked her about this, and it sounded complicated. But she said that she wouldn't take this job. But I don't know. I feel like she wouldn't take it because she's a very established professional model. She's been modeling for 30 plus years professionally. So, and it was her main source of income for many years. And so she knows about that kind of stuff. But anyway, she was saying it depends on the job, because if it's a job that can get you some amount of clout, like she said, if you're doing like a regular magazine shoot or something, like a Vogue thing, then sometimes they won't pay the models because you're getting, I don't know. Anyway, it sounded complicated. The point is that he decided, Florian, that he didn't want to take that job, and it's up to him. From my very layperson's point of view of the modeling industry in Florian's situation, I would have suggested, if I were his friend, if he were asking me for advice, I'd say like, well, how about you just take the job because you're not doing anything else? And sure, $150, that's kind of insulting, but everyone starts at the bottom, and maybe you meet someone, maybe you learn something, maybe you learn what you don't want to do, maybe I don't know, you meet a contact, or someone sees your work, or you can add it to your portfolio or something. You got to start somewhere. That would just be my general take, because he's literally not doing anything else, and he's trying to do this. So I don't know. It's sort of like if you're an actor and you have aspirations of being the next Robert De Niro or Meryl Streep or something, and you're offered a bit part in a TV show like Law and Order. Do you take it because of the reasons I'm presenting, or do you not take it because you're just like, well, that's not the sort of job I want to have? It just seems like, well, but you're not that yet. So he didn't take the job, and then he was talking with Stacey, and Stacey was like, you should have taken the job, and Florian's like, no, I don't want to. And then Darcey goes to Arizona University Wildcats to drop off Aniko. There's a whole scene with a smelly egg situation. Along those lines, it's interesting watching this show, I'm guessing for y'all as well, to watch the kids grow up. They were so young when we first met them, when we first had Darcey and Jesse, right? And it's interesting to just see the girls grow up and go to college, and you just wonder where they'll be in another 4 years if we're still watching, which I don't know. If you would have asked me a few years ago, will we be watching Darcey for 3 years? I would have been like, well, no, eventually they'll run out of material. But I don't know. Like, there's a chance that we're going to be powering through seasons after season because, I don't know, there's so much happens on this show that is commentable and interesting, I suppose. So then Florian says he doesn't want to do it, but so while Darcey is at Arizona University, there's this situation with the business that Darcey and Stacey have, that suddenly Stacey has to come up with some promo pictures. So she very quickly says, well, how about we do it with Florian? And they take a bunch of pictures, and then Apparently it goes okay. And it is notable during those scenes that once again we see that Stacey really treats Florian like a child. I don't know how she sees him, but the way she talks to him, if you didn't know better, you would think that Stacey was absolutely a helicopter mom. If you just came upon that scene, you'd be like, well, obviously that woman, that's not his wife. No peer, no, someone in an equal relationship would talk to someone. And clearly, especially if you couldn't see them, you would assume that Stacey was the mom and that Florian was like a 13-year-old who was shy, who was trying to become a model or something. But anyway, and Florian even pointed that out. He's like, yeah, she talks to me like a kid. So then we saw another scene where Stacey was presented her wedding dress and she really loved it. And she said she wanted to shine like a diamond or something at the wedding. And she wanted to be beautiful. She wanted to shine. And it seemed, I don't know, but we've seen more of this from Darcey, that they don't think of themselves as shining. They think of themselves, I don't know, but there's a theme, and I'm speculating, of course, that the two of them see themselves as ugly ducklings, as people who don't shine. And of course, we know that when they were younger, they reported that they didn't fit in. They were the awkward kids. They said they had like, what do they say? It's some sort of chia pet hair or something, or troll. I don't know. They would make fun of their hair, and they would just be together a lot, and they felt ostracized. And so they, I think, internalized a lot of that. Maybe they were bullied directly. I don't know. And they are trying to compensate for that for the rest of their life, seemingly. And she's like, and when Stacey was saying she wanted to shine, there seemed to be some sadness in there. And for Florian, and good for him, he says, yeah, you'll shine. And by the way, you always shine. You're always beautiful. You're always great. You don't need a dress to make you worthy or to make you beautiful, which I thought was intuitive for Florian to pick up on that energy that I was actually picking up on as well, and to immediately respond. And that's a good sign, because that shows that Florian has some attention, some attunement to Stacey's vulnerabilities, and will, react accordingly. Anyway, so then Darcey and Stacey had a fight about the fact that Florian did the photo shoot, because Darcey was like, you didn't check with me first, and I didn't really like the photo shoot, and you put it out there already. So then Darcey triangulated Michael, of all people, and Michael's like, I got you, I'm going to go after Florian. And there's just so many problems with what's happening here, because so let's just say that I were Michael, and I had hair like that, and I was wearing a pink, looks like a bulletproof jacket. I don't know. It's an interesting fashion choice. But honestly, when I think about it, I had a similar, and for you younger people, I'm guessing you might not be able to understand or relate to this, but there was a time when camouflage was only for the military. And unless you were in the military or a veteran, you would never wear camouflage. And then at some point in the 80s, late 80s, mid 80s, it became, in my view, in my little cultural pocket as a 14-year-old, it seemed like people started wearing camouflage as a fashion statement, saying that you were tough, essentially, that they were trying to appropriate the associations one might have with the military or something like that. I don't know. I'm sure a fashion expert would be able to refute everything I'm saying, but that's the way it came across to me. And in the beginning, when I was young, since I wasn't a part of this movement and where it came from, I would see people in the mid-'80s wearing camouflage, and I just thought, like, that's a weird fashion choice. You're wearing camo. Camouflage is this functional thing that you wear in certain environments to camouflage you so that people can't shoot you or they can't see you. Why would you want to wear camouflage as a fashion statement and considered to be high fashion in certain circles? And of course, over time, pretty quickly, it just became a style of clothing, like wearing a leopard print or something. And my feeling about camouflage, people wearing it, has changed over time too. When I see it now, I just don't really register it. I mean, it still has connotations that we could get into, but the point is that when I see him wearing a bulletproof jacket, I feel like it's a similar thing. And at first I'm like, well, it's Michael, so who knows? But I wonder if in 20 years we'll see one of the fashion elements available to people is to wear a bulletproof jacket or something, a lot body armor themed clothing as a way of trying to appropriate the associations one has with military or a SWAT team or a cool, guy like John Wick in a movie or something. I don't know. It's interesting to think. And of course, that would mean that Michael is at the cutting edge of fashion and thus has something to offer society in a certain way, which I'm guessing is not very palatable to anybody. But I don't know. To people, maybe some people love Michael. I don't know. Anyway, so Michael is wearing that, and which is, it's just fashion. What are you going to do? So if I were in Michael and I had blue hair like that, and I was wearing that outfit, and Darcey comes to me and says, Stacey did this photo shoot, and either Darcey fed him this or Michael supposed this, and Darcey agreed, but they concluded, this is Florian's fault. The photo shoot was Florian's fault because he was trying to weasel his way in because his modeling career is not going anywhere, and so he forced himself on the situation. And so that's a huge assumption. Quite possible that Stacey was actually more interested in doing this than Florian was. There's just a lot of question marks. So if I were in that position and Darcey told me that, well, the first thing I would say is to Darcey is like, well, have you talked to Stacey? Because it sounds like this is a conflict between you and Stacey. Are you giving her the benefit of the doubt, or are you resorting to triangulation here again, or are you afraid of something? Did she say something that made you not trust her, that she would understand? Because all Darcey has to do is go to Stacey and be like, hey, it just kind of hurt my feelings that you did this thing, and I want Florian's career to do well too, as well. But I have to say, when I look at the pictures, it's not really the sort of thing I want to put out there. I want to be together. I want us to do things together. And yeah, I was definitely busy with my daughter at Arizona, but I would like maybe a heads up, or I don't know. I just would have thought that you would have, but that's not the way Darcey came at Stacey. We don't know if this was trumped up because they're trying to make a reality TV show. There's a good possibility that was, but in terms of what we're seeing, Darcey didn't do that. She just goes after Stacey. Stacey gets defensive. They don't agree and they yell at each other. That's why Darcey goes to Michael. So now Michael comes at Florian and is just like, this entire thing is your fault. and Michael doesn't know anything about the situation.
Man, so what's up with this photo shoot? Darcey's telling me about this. Like, you're trying to basically be the male model for the brand? You're being selfish right now. Why would you sabotage and do a photo shoot without his consent?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say other than Michael has no idea what he's talking about, and you have to wonder either he's doing it for the cameras, or he just loves to fight, or he's distorted. This whole conversation says a lot more about Michael than it does about Florian.
But going behind someone's back, not communicating, I think you pressured her to do the photo shoot. You need to take accountability.
My God. And the way he's talking to Florian, this kind of thing, it's aggressive. It's mildly threatening. And if I were Florian, I would just say, like, this conversation is just so ridiculous that I'm not going to entertain this conversation. So I'm going to ask you to change the subject, to talk about something else, or I'm walking away. I've seen this before.
But going behind someone's back, not communicating, I think you pressured her to do the photo shoot. You need to take accountability.
Are you stupid right now? For what reason, like, you need to talk for this kind of things? It's not your job. It's not your problem.
Yeah, good. So at least Florian isn't getting into the details, because that's the temptation, is to go, no, I didn't. And then you're trying to defend yourself when someone is just so in left field that you can just say that. You just be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. By the way you're saying this, you're either misinformed or you're making stuff up in your head. So I don't even know where to begin, and thus I'm not even going to begin.
It's not your business. I'm not going to...
Can you just admit and take accountability right now?
You need to shut the up. Be careful what you're talking to me, okay? Oh. I tell you last time...
Did he just almost punch Florian? It's so absurd. What did he just do?
Business. I'm not going to...
Can you just admit and take accountability right now?
You need to shut the up. Be careful what you're talking to me, okay?
Oh, I didn't notice that. Florian had his hand on his pink, I don't know what you call it, fake body armor thing. And so Michael was going to hit his hand off, but by then Florian had let go. So that's what it was.
It's not your business. I'm not going
Can you just admit and take accountability right now?
You need to shut the up. Be careful what you're talking to me, okay? I tell you last time, come to my face.
Dude.
You want to extend it more, let's go in the different level, man.
So now Florian is escalating it, which I wouldn't recommend to anyone. What would it prove? Okay, you take it to the next level, or you threaten him and he backs down. What is the point of that? Just walk away. Just don't get it. If anything, that's what Michael is looking for, which I don't know if this is trumped up. I don't know if there's something weird going on, but if I saw this in the wild and there weren't cameras around and there wasn't some other explanation, that's what I would assume, that this person is trying to provoke this other individual to escalate it to a physical fight, either because, I don't know, they just want to, or they want an excuse to get into a fight, or they want to push the other person to doing something so that they can say, look, see, he's the problem. If he were innocent, he wouldn't have hit me, that kind of thing.
You're threatening me?
I'm not here to talk to Chihuahua. I like to do action. I don't like to talk. No with me, okay? No more talk to me. Last time and last thing.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like Michael doesn't know what to say to that, which is maybe Florian's tactic is working.
You owe the girls an apology.
First of all, Darcey needs to apologize me what you acting, and you need to apologize me what you acting.
No.
And not be in my business, okay?
You're unbelievable, man.
Shut the up and stop acting.
Yeah. It's just, you're unbelievable. You need to take accountability. For what? Stacey asked him to do a photo shoot for her business. What does he need to apologize for? Even if you take the accusation as truth, so what? So Florian asked his wife, hey, I really want to model for your business. And Stacey's like, well, normally I will check with Darcey on this, but you know what? Let's just do it and whatever. So what? It was a photo shoot for a business that I don't even know really how successful they are. I can't really tell from this show. There's all these indications that they're trying to get off the ground. Maybe they are super successful and there is a lot at stake, but honestly, if they're really worried about their image, they wouldn't be on a reality TV show like this, and they certainly, I'm guessing, wouldn't associate with Michael Benz. I don't know that, but anyway, you know what I mean? That the stakes are Stacey took pictures with Florian with the clothes of their business, and I'm guessing they posted them already. I don't even know if they posted. It just looked like they had the pictures and they were going to use them maybe. So, but even if they had posted them, it's not like it ruins everything. I just can't imagine that it's ruining the business. So that's what we're talking about.
You selfish. Michael Benz need to stay away from my business. Michael Benz and Darcey actually.
Yeah, you're right. Darcey, are you starting? Excuse me? Are you talking about our business to Michael Benz?
I told him I was upset that you didn't inform me about the photo shoot. You know, that's still upsetting to me. And
Upsetting to you. I don't need to tell Michael Benz nothing about me.
I'm allowed to say how I feel to my friends, okay?
Yeah, and Darcey knows what Michael will do, and Darcey either signed off on or encouraged him to attack Florian for no reason. So they both have a legitimate bone to pick with Darcey of just like, okay, yeah, you can talk with your friends, but you don't have the right to cause a known problem that we will call Michael Benz to attack him and potentially create a physical altercation.
Okay, I don't control what he says and does. You know what? I'm gonna take this weird energy that's spewing over here and just, you guys can figure that out.
With your mouth, you bring the energy.
That's funny. Wow. Nothing's ever good enough for me. Can you please help me with this? I'm really upset right now that all this freaking arguing is going on.
Okay, well, let's adjourn there. Everyone, please, I want to remind you to really take care of yourself. take note of your needs, check in with yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.